Tell me your name. I love like they you want to like the carrots I had last night. There's like this playhouse out in Hurricane on like they do like a comedy dinner type thing. And we went last night and it was so cute. But they had these carrots and these legit had the full on pepper.
All right, welcome. I know we're eating. We're gonna get started so we can leave plenty of time for our panel. We'll call the meeting to order. Welcome. It's so fun to have all of our guests today, new faces. So welcome to the Republican Women. We're happy to have you. All right. We want to welcome our elected officials that are here. We have Councilwoman Janine Burton from Santa Clara. We know her. We have Councilwoman Michelle Tanner over here, St. George, and Councilman Prete from Hurricane. Thank you. And we have Commissioner Iverson. I almost said Iverson. Sorry. Almquist here, Chairman Almquist with us from the county, and Vice Chair Barry Sawyer from the county party. Chairwoman Lisa, of course you guys know her. Did I miss anyone else, elected officials that snuck in on us? I know it's legislative session, so it's a little busy. All right, and then we have many guests, so welcome. We're so glad you're here. I want to give a big thanks before I forget to Suzanne, because she made this room look amazing with all the great Valentine touches, so give her a round of applause. She's amazing. You guys that know her know that. So a couple of announcements we want to mention. So with Joanne Brinton leaving to do school board, we had an opening on our executive board. So in the bylaws, that goes to the executive board, and we voted in Kristen Crow to be our third VP. So Kristen, if you want to wave, welcome. Thank you. She's taken on third VP for us. We also have member at large is open right now as well, because Kathy Percival is moving, unfortunately. So if you're interested in that, let us know, and that will go towards the board as well. That position is a liaison between the members and the board, and kind of help where needed. So just be aware of that. We have a couple events coming up. As you know, Lincoln Day is this Saturday. We have 2 seats left at our table. So first come, first serve. If you want to sit at our Republican women tables, let Sandy or the Star know today, and they'll get you squared away for that. And then next Wednesday is the Utah Federation of Republican Women Legislative Day. So we go up to Salt Lake. There's a breakfast and a lunch. So let me know today if you're interested in that, because the breakfast is limited to the members. We have a few spots, so I can let the president know. But that's next Wednesday. If you can't make the breakfast, you can make the lunch. It's up to you. But we go up there and we get to hear from a lot of the legislators around the state and kind of tour the Capitol. It's a good experience. So let us know if you have questions on that. Let's see. What other announcements are we missing? Also, the United We Pledge Gala. They are our charity this year that we're working with. So on February 27th, we have a couple more seats at our table for that as well. So if you're interested, February 27th, let us know. And if you're new, we've got those note cards on the table. Just write your questions for the panel on that, and we'll get to those at the end. And do your volunteer hours, both political and non-political. We keep track of that all year round for our club. And I think, did I miss any announcements that anyone has pressing? Okay, I know it's a lot to throw at you. So we're going to start with our prayer by our chaplain, Sharon, and then we'll turn the time over to Lori for our Americanism. Following Lori, we'll have a membership report by Jennifer. And then because it is February, we've got to approve our budget for the first quarter, so we'll turn the time over to LaStar for that. And then following LaStar, we'll turn it to Suzanne to introduce our panel. We'll go to that point. Thank you.
Let us pray. Dear Father in heaven, we're thankful to Thee to be together and share this meal Thou provides for our nourishment. We're thankful to Thee to welcome our guest speakers, Karry, Rathje, Jordan Hess, Shawn, Christensen, Ed Tracey, Michelle Tanner, and Joseph Prete. We look forward to what they will share with us. We're thankful to Thee for our legislators in session working for a better Utah. We're grateful to Thee for the changes in our country under the Trump administration and for the nominees confirmed thus far. We're grateful to Thee for President Washington, President Lincoln, and President Trump, through whom Thou gave us this great country, saved and united this country, and now restoring and transforming our country to its former strength and greatness. Father, we ask Thy blessing for our guest speakers. May each enjoy their chosen work and continue to serve for citizens' benefit. We ask Thy blessing for our legislatures. May they accomplish positive changes for Utah. We ask Thy blessing for the administration's confirmed nominees. May they serve effectively, honestly, and faithfully. We ask Thy blessing for the families whose loved one perished in the tragic mid-air collision over the Potomac, and for the families of those who perished in the medical flight tragedy in Philadelphia last week. May they all feel the sympathy of our nation, and may they have comfort and peace knowing their loved one is with Thee. Lastly, Father, we ask Thy blessing for our friend, Sandy Atkin, whose mom Cleo, a club member since 1962, club president in 1976, and a Diamond Gem member, has passed away. She will be greatly missed by all who knew her. May Sandy feel our sympathy and support as she grieves, and may she have peace knowing her parents are reunited and with Thee. Father, we humbly ask these blessings in the name of Thy beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Today's Americanism is titled Inauguration Day. On Inauguration Day, January 20th, we mark the beginning of a new term for the President of the United States. The President takes the oath of office, followed by speeches, parades, and celebrations. While the celebrations can take many forms, only the oath-taking ceremony itself is mandated by the U.S. Constitution. Here's a bit more about this important day and the role it has played in our nation's history. The first ever presidential inauguration took place in February of 1789, when 69 electors chose George Washington to be our first president. The Constitution took effect in March of that year, and Washington traveled across the Hudson on April 30th to attend the ceremony. It was held on the balcony of Federal Hall on Wall Street in New York. Afterward, the president read the first inaugural speech, followed by a fireworks celebration. That first inauguration began many of the inaugural traditions we still observe today, such as the inaugural address after taking oath of office. The first president to take the oath in Washington, D.C. was Thomas Jefferson, who began the tradition of the inaugural open house, in which the president greets and shakes hands with well-wishers after the ceremony. Inauguration Day wasn't always held in January. Prior to the 20th Amendment, Inauguration Day was held on March 4th, the day the Constitution took effect in the United States in 1789. Franklin D. Roosevelt became the first president to be sworn in during the month of January in 1933. Though we take for granted the presidential inauguration will be televised, streamed, tweeted, etc., it was not always the case. Only the members of Congress heard that first address all those years ago. News of the presidential inauguration wouldn't get to the newspapers until 1809 with the election of James Madison. Later, the news would travel by telegraph. In the case of James Polk's inauguration, the news was delivered by Samuel Morse himself. As technology advanced, so did the speed of inaugural news. James Buchanan became the first president whose ceremony was immortalized in photographs, and William McKinley's inauguration was captured by early movie cameras. When Calvin Coolidge took office, the nation tuned in to listen by radio, and Harry Truman's swearing in was broadcast by television for the first time in 1945. Presently, the internet is where most Americans consume their news, and where Bill Clinton's inauguration was seen in 1997 and subsequent presidents as well. Some things, however, haven't changed much with the times. The presidential oath outlined in Article 2 of the Constitution has remained unchanged for over 200 years and has been spoken by every president since its inception. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. And now will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just want to say that if anybody has filled these out, I'm the one that takes them. So if you want to just give them to me, I'll leave them on the table. And this is the volunteer hours. I just leave them on the table and we'll walk around and pick them up. Okay. So for membership, we have 6 new members for this month for 2025. And we also have 0 new associates. So we need new associates. That is for people like of the opposite sex and others. And okay, so currently WCRW has 42 members and 10 associate members. Of our 11 of the members and 8 of the 11 of members, there we go, sorry, and 8 associates are GEM members. And what the GEM member is that's an additional membership that will allow us to not have to fundraise during the year to have the club have the funds to be able to run the organization. So a silver is a $50, gold is $100, and you get 1 lunch comp to you. And diamond is $500, and you get 10 free lunches. So it's a good deal. I'd like to make some recognitions at this time. So let's see. For silver, we have Judy Stagg, and I also have her badge. Is she here? Yeah, that's Judy. And what you do is you get these little things, little decals that you can put on your badge or however you want to do it. Okay, so Judy, and then Jen Kaplan was a silver member. And then Larry Myers, one associate, getting a GEM member right now. Shawn Devlin come? Oh, she's not. Good job. Okay. And then the diamond for Suzanne Moore. Ooh. And then this poor gentleman has been waiting months for recognition. And it's Larry Silverman. He's another. Fine Okay, so we really like it when everybody brings a guest. So we're going to quickly go around the room. Who has brought guests today? Okay, Alexis, you want to introduce your guys? Sure.
I have 2 guests today. This is Katie Larson. She, y'all are going to be big fans of Katie. She was one of the students that was instrumental in trying to help me fight the name change at the university. And she did some really, really amazing things. So love Katie. And this is Susanna Johnson. She is Corinne Johnson with Utah Parents United. Her 2 of her daughters moved down here. And so she's joining us today for lunch.
Good. governor, her son ran for governor of Massachusetts. Unfortunately, he lost. He tried. Welcome. Anybody else? Okay, Suzanne. Yes, you've got lots of guests.
I have a table of extraordinary women. Starting to my right, we have April Pratt from Washington Chamber, Wendy Bulkley from Rathje, Sherry Hewlett from Dixie Power, and my new friend Margie Hare, and Jill Cannon from Utah Title, Annie Simpkins from Hughes Contractors, and Jenna Priest from St. George Chamber.
Very good, thank you. Welcome, everybody. Anyone else? Okay, so if you have not yet joined WCRW or renewed your membership, we're asking you that you do it. It's that time of the year. And also, bring a friend, bring an associate with you to the luncheon so that we can have good turnouts like we've got today. And then one last thing is, if there is anyone that should have had a badge or a decal and has not gotten it, other than if you just joined, would you let me know? I'm trying to get on top of this, so I may have missed somebody. So anyway, just let me know afterwards. Thank you.
Okay, on the table, there's only a couple of them, but this is our budget for our proposed budget for next year, and it's our budget from last year, so you can kind of see what we did. So if you have any questions, you can ask me afterwards or whatever, and then, but I would like a motion to accept these. Okay.
Let's start, you make the motion.
Oh, I make the motion? Okay, I've been doing this forever, but I always forget. I motion to what? I motion to approve the budget.
I can. And then Haley.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I know.
So everyone should have a copy of this. It's the bio and pictures of the speakers, and I invite the speakers to go ahead and take their places. So really quick.
We're not on the table or anything.
The file?
Sherry, would you grab these and put that on their table?
Does anybody else have it? Oh, just in
Well done. I'll take you for that later.
Yeah, we don't have it.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
The next one.
So with us today are extraordinary community leaders. And one of the things that I like to do every January is do an economic symposium. I like to see what's going on. And we've picked some members of the community. We have Karry, Rathje, Jordan Hess, Shawn Christensen, Michelle Tanner, Ed Tracey, and Joseph Prete. They're with the Water Conservancy, Washington City, St. George Chamber, St. George City Council, Councilwoman Tanner, and then Washington City Chamber, and then Joseph Prete from Hurricane. So we're well represented, and it is my privilege to have them here with us. So what we're going to do is each one of them, maybe in order, hold it, do we have this? We're gonna just have a little synopsis of what's going on in your world and 3 to 4 minutes. And then we are going to open it up for questions.
Hi, I'm Karry Rathje from the Washington County Water Conservancy District, and it's an honor to be with you today. Just a really quick overview of what's happening in terms of our water conditions. We are at a dismal 21% of average snowpack right now. I don't know if you're mindful of that. It is the driest winter on record since 1895. That is the first year they started keeping records, by the way. So we are in an extremely severe drought right now. The water district does have a 20-year water supply plan that includes additional conservation, reuse, groundwater optimization, available agricultural transfers, and developing any remaining local supplies. In terms of conservation, we are truly leading the state. We have replaced more than 2 million square feet of grass in the last 2 years. That accounts for about 30% of the grass statewide that has been replaced since the program was launched. So even though we're 7% of the population, we've replaced more than 30% of the grass statewide, which is phenomenal. We also have passed Utah's strictest ordinances for new construction, so that new development is much more water efficient than existing development. Along with that, we're also working on a regional reuse system that will allow us to treat water that is taken to the reclamation facilities, and we're putting that back into our system for additional irrigation to preserve our high quality potable water for drinking. So happy to take any questions, but I don't want to hog time because we've got this amazing panel here with me today, but that's a quick overview.
Thanks, Karry. My name is Jordan Hess. I'm happy to be in a room full of friends. Cities are technically supposed to be nonpartisan, but I just have to say, as an American first conservative, it feels good to be an American in 2025. You know, I was a national delegate to Milwaukee, where we got to vote for President Trump to be our nominee. I was also one of Utah's 6 electoral votes this year to vote for him to be President of the United States, and was out at the inauguration. And the overwhelming theme through all of those events was just so much joy. I'm so grateful that our country is finally getting back on track. We do have to give our friends on the other side of the aisle a little bit of pity. It's probably whiplash for them right now. But these are good things happening in this country, and I'm very optimistic. As far as Washington City is concerned, if you take all of our property tax and sales tax and put it in a giant bucket, 65% of the revenue to the city comes from sales tax. Because of that, Washington City has not had to raise property taxes in almost 30 years, and we have no plans to increase property tax. But what that means is, in order to keep up with the large growth we're having in our population, we have to increase our commercial growth and our retail growth in Washington City so that sales tax continues to come in. The other great thing is sales tax is a more fair tax because it is paid for by our tourists. Our 5 million tourists that come to Washington County pay that sales tax that helps fund some of our necessary services like EMT, fire, police, etc. So as far as commercial growth, we have a couple projects underway in Washington City right now. A new Hyatt House Hotel at Exit 13, a Homewood Suites by Hilton at Green Spring, a Cypress Credit Union at Green Spring, a new Star Nursery is being built on George Washington Boulevard, and I think many of us in the room are excited about Winco, which is about to break ground at our new Main Street exit across the street from Brio. We're really excited about Winco coming to Washington. Aside from that, the city has almost 3 blocks in our downtown. If you've ever driven through downtown Washington, currently there's not a whole lot to be proud of. We have our city hall and our Veterans Park and the old museum and the gym that was just remodeled. But other than that, we don't really have a downtown. But the city has 3 blocks that are about to go out for an RFP, where we are looking to have a downtown that is walkable, that will provide dining and shopping and recreational opportunities, a downtown that Washington City can be proud of. We're excited for a future developer to come in to make that a reality because our residents in Washington deserve that. And then lastly, before I pass the mic, because this is the month of February and George Washington's birthday is coming up, Washington City was named after our first president, George Washington. And because of that, we are creating what is called the George Washington Plaza. We have about an acre of land down by the new Red Cliffs Temple. And it's not a good spot for a commercial or retail or housing, but it is a great spot for a park. So the city is building what is called George Washington Plaza. We'll have a life-size bronze statue of George Washington on site. We will have exact replicas of the gates you will see at Mount Vernon. We will have cherry trees. We will have rose bushes, all of this in honor of our first president. And I had to research why rose bushes are associated with George Washington. He was the first person to actually breed rose bushes. He was an avid gardener and had a huge rose garden at Mount Vernon. So this will be a place where all of our residents, public, tourists alike can come to honor our first president, after which our city was named. So there's a lot going on in Washington City. Happy to take questions later. Thanks.
So I'm Shawn Christensen. I'm with the St. George Area Chamber of Commerce. And our job at the Chamber of Commerce is to support all the business that our cities are bringing in. And so for economic development, we have fantastic economic development directors in Washington City and in St. George City with our county. And once they brought these businesses in and the businesses are starting to get established in the community, our job is to bring them into the fold, introduce them to other businesses. And the best thing I could say about the chamber is that our job is to connect people. We connect people and businesses. And if we're not doing that, then we're not doing our job. So a lot of times, even when I first joined the chamber, I said, what does the chamber do? I should probably know that when I run the chamber. But that is what we do. We connect people. And so we spend a lot of our time at the chamber establishing relationships with obviously our members and business owners, but also with our elected officials and our public employees, so that as businesses start to face issues or have needs, they can come to us and we'll make the introductions that need to be made and help them solve those problems. The best thing that happens for us is when somebody comes to us with a problem we cannot solve. It gives us a great challenge to be able to find out who we need to know and what we need to do in order to help them solve that and then start them on the path for that. But yeah, we do a lot of networking. We do a lot of events, more events than I would like to do. We do about 70 events a year that we put on. We're involved in over 300 events a year. And those events are truly to make those relationships. And I think you could go anywhere in the state and relationships are important. I would say there's nowhere where it's more important than in Washington County. And our business owners learn that very quickly, that if they aren't able to establish relationships here locally, usually their business will struggle and eventually close. And so we try to be that bridge that closes that gap to make sure that they're introduced around the community so that they have good hiring practices and a good experience hiring, as well as working with other businesses. So that's what we do over the chamber. I'll let Councilwoman Tanner talk about St. George City.
Awesome. Thanks, Shawn. Thanks for having me. It's so great to be here among so many friends and fellow Republicans. And first and foremost, I think the most important bit of information that you probably already know is we're getting another Costco. I'm telling you, when that news article came out, and I voted against the incentives for that. I'm not against Costco, but the principle of incentives. But I got more phone calls from that news article than the tax increase, the drag show. No, it was pretty close though. So anyway, I had to let y'all know the new Costco is coming. So I wanted to hit on three things in regards to the city of St. George, because these are important, I know, to every person in this room. That is fiscal responsibility, that is public safety, and that is maintaining a family-friendly environment in our community. So the first thing I wanted to touch on is we are moving in a positive direction in the city of St. George with our budget process. That fiscal responsibility is something that I take very seriously. And some of you may remember a few years back when there was an attempt to raise taxes. Nobody wants to raise taxes. And so through that process, though, it was amazing because so many of you got involved, started scrutinizing the budget. Are we prioritizing public safety first? Because that is such a vital role of the proper role of government. So I wanted to report to you today, because that's been 3 years that have gone by since we voted down raising taxes. We have maintained one of the lowest property tax rates in the entire state. Of the top 20 cities, actually, we are the 3rd lowest, and we are the 5th largest city. So we have funded that 5-year public safety plan, Safe St. George, fully funded that plan to date, and then some, which means all of our public safety have been getting appropriate raises. We are fully staffed. We have the appropriate fire stations going in, and that is all being funded without raising taxes. So I wanted to let you all know that that budget increase, I actually went back the last 10 years to see each year how much the budget has increased from the year prior. Every year for the last 10 years, it's been raised by double digits until these last 2 years. 2 years ago, we had a 3% increase. This last year, less than 1% increase. So we are moving in a positive direction in the city of St. George in terms of fiscal responsibility and public safety. As far as a family-friendly environment, I wanted y'all to know about a bill that many of us in this room have been working on with our amazing representative, Colin Jack, and that is HB 401. So if you're not familiar with this, make sure you are reaching out to all of your legislators, senators, asking them to vote for HB 401, which is to protect our children in public spaces from adult content. We believe we should be a family-friendly environment. We believe in parental rights, that we have the right to choose if our children are exposed to certain adult activities. And so essentially what HB 401 does is it attaches penalties and criminalizes certain sexual behaviors, adult entertainment in public spaces or where children are going to be present. So I'm really grateful for that moving forward and super hopeful for Utah's Dixie.
Hi, everybody. Ed Tracey, Washington Area Chamber of Commerce. Much like Shawn, we do what we do for the businesses in the community. You know, there's a lot of business that suffers out there, right? And so the chambers are here to help those businesses through legislation and advocate for just about anything they need. I will say, Jennifer, you did give me the evil eye. I will become an associate because I'm afraid of you. And I will also say I'm thinking of changing my name to Winco because I've never heard so many women go, woo. That's great. And I did get asked a few times when I walked in, if I have time, instead of answering questions, I will sing a song. But just because Jennifer gave me the evil eye. So yeah, we do. You hit the nail on the head. We do events, right? A lot of events, and it takes a lot, and we couldn't do it without volunteers from the community, right? There's so many great things in this community that people moved here for. I'm not from here. I'm not even from Utah, but I will never leave. It's just a great community, and organizations like this make it that way. So we will keep fighting the good fight and help businesses out there, and thanks for having us.
Hello, everybody. Joseph Prete. I'm from Hurricane City on the Chamber of Commerce. Or not Chamber, I used to be there, City Council. Lots going on in Hurricane. Lots of projects. I'm sure you know of Liberty Village. We have a new Ace out there. We've got some restaurants coming. Cafe Rio, a Starbucks, Applebee's. So we're excited about those things. Another interesting thing in Hurricane you may be aware of is we're building a 4-plex of gyms. We just finished a 2-plex, so we'll host some tournaments out there for our various sporting events. We've got many events that happen in Hurricane. We've got a car show, we've got off-road vehicle events, the LPGA Epson Tour and Senior Championship. And just things are hopping out there. So I will be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Do you guys have, if you have a card that you wrote a question, just raise your hand and we'll come grab them. So, all right. We'll start with.
You know what? Can I do something selfish? I need to prove to my boss why I took the morning off. I'm gonna have April take a picture of us.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Looks like you're having too much fun.
You better Photoshop that.
Did everyone have the cards?
I've got one here to start us off while you're, if you want. This one's for Jordan. Any plans for a firehouse station in the Green Springs area?
Currently, what the city does is it looks at a radius and what the response times are within the radius. I think before Green Springs, we need another one down in like the south part of the fields near Stookie Farm, because that will also cover that DR Horton development in Long Valley, because there will be a connecting road right there to the Southern Parkway. So before we have it in Green Spring is currently served by the fire station that's across from the boilers on Buena Vista, and that's within that radius for adequate response times.
Right, next question, any of you can take it for your cities, but I know you mentioned a few businesses, but are there other businesses we should watch for, either small businesses we need to support or big businesses coming in that you want to mention?
So I'll start. Many of you are probably already aware, but out in Washington City, near the airport, they're building 4 million square feet of logistical space. And so what you're going to see is businesses come in that are moving product in and out of the Intermountain West. It's going to create quite a crossroads right down here. And so you'll see a lot of businesses coming in as that project begins to take shape and they begin to finish the buildings. Many of you probably already heard we have an Amazon facility here. I think a lot of you guys heard that. So Amazon's just recently started hiring. That's over in the Fort Pierce area. Again, another distribution type position, and they'll have management roles there as well. There's other things like a possibility of another hospital coming into southern Utah.
Trader Joe's.
I'm leaving you back for you doing that. Actually, I was hoping Michelle would say that, and then Costco would pale in comparison in the number of emails you got. So yeah, what we're seeing happen here in southern Utah is we are strategically placed really, really well. Everything from Nevada to Colorado to Arizona to California to move product back and forth. And with Long Beach being such a huge port, everything coming in there and then working its way into the country is going to be coming through here. And so it's going to be a really, really interesting growth cycle for our area from that perspective.
Across the street from where the Winco will be is a new medical office building that's called One Health, being built by Hughes General Contractors. So that'll give you, additional medical choices in Washington County to find a provider that works for you. Also, there's a new development in Washington Fields, right off of Washington Fields Road, down kind of by Crimson High School, and it's called the Junction. That development has gone vertical. There is space for lease. So if you are a business or you know a business looking for a place to locate, that is a great option. Right now, I think Fizz is already slotted to go in there. There are lots of retail space right there in that development that will serve the Washington Fields.
If nobody else reason, I'll throw one more in there. So you guys are familiar with Larry H. Miller Company. What you may not know is they divested of all. They don't have any dealerships any longer. They completely divested of that. A lot of what they're doing now is development. So if you're familiar with Daybreak out in Salt Lake or South Jordan, they're doing a lot of the development out there, but they're going to be bringing a major entertainment center in St. George. It'll actually be built and completed before the one in Desert Color is completed, and that was recently announced. And so it's right there on the border of Washington and St. George, kind of across from that lens that's on Mall Drive.
Is that where the Trader Joe's is gonna be too, or?
No, the water park's gonna be there.
With the Trader Joe's in the basement.
That's right. But yeah, so, and what it's gonna be is really high-end luxury entertainment. And so it's not going to the theaters that we've been used to going to. It is going to theaters that are gonna provide you a private experience, and bowling alleys that are ridiculous and have all sorts of computer technology involved in it. It's gonna be a really, really cool project, and something that's gonna provide great entertainment needed here.
So where's Trader Joe's going?
Hey, Councilwoman Tanner has that one.
Trader Joe's, what about Cheesecake Factory? That's what I want. No, I have not heard any plans of Trader Joe's unless they've been keeping it a secret from me. So their requirements of where they put their locations are very stringent, and so I don't know, maybe we don't meet whatever requirements.
I lost $100 bet with Aaron Edgley from NEIXL. I said, they're gonna be here by 2025. And anyway, I lost $100 this week.
Have any of you been up on Tech Ridge within the last 30 days? Raise your hands. And can anybody give me a guess as to what the newest thing up at Tech Ridge is?
The stairs. My leg still hurts.
The stairs. So sitting over here, you have Isaac Barlow. Big round of applause for Isaac. He's bringing a lot of commerce here. What I love about the project that Isaac is doing is that rather than wait for all the tenants to move in and all the buildings to be built, he is putting in the lifestyle part today. All that investment is being made. So those stairs are done, 333 stairs, right? I climbed them. They had to hit me with oxygen 3-4 times going up. This was on like Christmas Eve. It was ridiculous. I thought I was going to die. But then they're also building a 5K trail that's going to be around the top there that people can run on, that they can hold races on. They can include the stairs. It's really incredible. If you haven't had a chance, go up there and check it out. You can sit under the flying saucer that Isaac's built up there. And what I would say is if you're under that, just talk with one another while you're standing there. The acoustics are ridiculous. And you wouldn't think that being outside and being all open, but it's been built so that you can have incredible events up there. But yeah, the amount of cool things happening down here are second to none. Commissioner?
The strap tank was not mentioned. Somebody mentioned restaurants. If you do a strap tank, that's a unique experience coming down here. Should be completed soon.
Yeah, that's just right over by the convention center.
What was that? What is it called?
It's called Strap Tank. So if you go it's a restaurant. They have it up in not Thanksgiving Point. What do they call it? Traverse Mountain has a strap tank up there. It's awesome. It's delicious food. It's a whole entertainment experience when you go in and eat there. And the people.
Strap tank is an old Harley Davidson,
Where the motorcycles had their gas tanks strapped down. So that's where the name comes from. And it's not a biker bar. I'm sorry if you're getting your hopes up.
I'm just envisioning walking in and you're getting strapped down to your seat.
Don't let her go out alone. This is what I'm getting over here.
So
right
with
next
that,
to the Dixie Convention.
sorry. Someone had asked if Hobby Lobby, so this is with St. George people, Hobby Lobby's still planning to come to St. George.
As far as I know, yes.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
All right, we've got a couple water questions, so we're gonna go to you, Karry. One is what's going on with the Jellystone Park and the reuse system being installed there for $1 billion? And then also the other questions, so if you wanna touch on any other new water projects in the area.
So Jellystone is a project that is actually located in Hurricane City. By contract with the district, the way it's organized is the district has what's called a regional water supply agreement. And we provide water to the municipalities, and the municipalities provide water to the homes and businesses within their jurisdiction. And so by virtue of that contract,
The district does provide water to Jellystone. And I'm not sure if there was a specific question about that, but,
There is a specific question.
oh, sure.
The question is that Jellystone said before they ever broke ground that they were not going to get their water from the services district.
That is correct.
For their rides and for their water features. And after they finished construction and found out that they were going to have to pay $600,000 for a treatment plant and had to hire a guy full-time to make sure that that water stayed the way it's supposed to. They went to the mayor and council at Hurricane, and they were given the water anyway.
Well, to clarify it just a little bit, by virtue of our contract, if Hurricane City or Washington City or St. George City approves a development, and that development needs a water resource, then the district is contractually obligated to provide that water.
Can I say something? I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Sure.
I'm trying to point out that what's going on in Hurricane is a fraud. And I have filed a complaint with the state police about it. And I can't get the media to do a story on it because they're not allowed to give our water that's cleaned by our tax dollars to make Scott Nielsen rich.
So what's your question?
Councilman Prete is from Hurricane.
Why is Hurricane and the council giving our water away when they knew up front that they were not going to get that water? He was not going to get that water.
That's a very specific question, and since we are in a large group, can I chat with you afterwards? Let me answer the other question, which was the regional reuse system, because that's a very important question that I want to make sure that we do address. Right now, we do treat our effluent or our wastewater, and we're using that to irrigate parks, golf courses, cemeteries, schools, and others facilities. We are in the process of significantly expanding our reclaimed water. And we anticipate that will provide about half of the water that's needed over the next 20 years, enough for 40,000 homes. It's not insignificant. So that will add about 24,000 acre feet of water. We're going to take water that is currently treated at the reclamation facilities, treat it to a very high standard, put it back into the system, and that will be used for additional demand. Right now, our wastewater is treated all the way from Ivins to Tokerville. And so this will be a tremendous source of reliable, drought-proof water that we're putting into the system, and it's a huge project for Washington County.
I'm just wondering, for Santa Clara City, when Graveyard Wash, the reservoir that we're putting in the future, is there any significant things that we can know about the water coming from Gunlock and all that?
Sure. So the regional reuse system is a whole network of new infrastructure. You're going to see new reservoirs, pipelines, pump stations, new and expanded treatment facilities. Graveyard Wash Reservoir is a new reservoir that's going to come online in the Santa Clara area that will store reused water. Right now, we have the facility, the St. George Regional Water Reclamation Facility is treating that water. But because there's nowhere to store it, we're sending that water downstream. There's no place to put it. And so these additional storage facilities will allow us to keep Utah's water in Utah for the benefit of Utah. That reservoir that you're asking about specifically is anticipated to start construction this year, and it will hold a highly treated water from the reclamation facility. Another reservoir that's currently under construction is Chief Toker Reservoir in Tokerville that will also store treated reclaimed water. So if there's any other questions, let me know. I don't want to hog time.
Okay, I appreciated the remarks about what Isaac Barlow and what they're doing on Tech Bridge and having private investors come in and help beautify parts of our community. And I love the example that they're setting there because we are all about less government and more market. So we want to know, are there other things that are happening in other cities where we have private investors coming in and to improve aspects of the community?
Yeah, we have a development called Solente on the north side of Washington City. They originally wanted like a golf course feature, something like that, and our city council said, that's a no-go, we don't really have the water for that. But we'll let you build a reservoir that we can then use recreationally. And so they agreed they're going to build a reservoir that will be one of these storage facilities for the water that we need to sustain our growth. So that's one group in Washington City. They're gonna build it in Solente.
Is it just for Solente use, or is it gonna be?
No, so one of the other things that we did, if you've ever hiked up there, Dino Cliffs and Elephant Arch, those trailheads are within Solente. And in order to allow them to build, we made them agree to maintain local access to all of those trails, hiking, the dino tracks, etc. They not only agreed to that, but they agreed to pay to enhance the trailheads, to offer more parking, better facilities at those trailheads, etc. And they were really good to do that.
We've worked with several companies to identify good quality capital providers for our area. And to give you an example of one, there's a company that's based in Austin and also in New Hampshire, and it's called Advantage Capital. And what they've done is they partnered with the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity to be able to offer capital at a very low rate or advantageous terms for business owners who are looking to grow. We do have a lack of VC's funding here in southern Utah. There are a few funds that are running right now, but they don't have huge dollars. They're not Silicon Valley dollars coming behind these, right? And so what we're trying to do is provide opportunities for businesses to be able to get access to funding so they can properly grow, but not be able to give away the farm, whether it's on interest rate or equity within the company. This particular company, if the business is going to add to the workforce above the median income in our area, then they get tax incentives that give them lower rates for the capital that they borrow. And so it's a little bit complicated. Fortunately, I just have to make the introductions, right? When our members come to us and they're looking for capital and they're looking for growth, we then start to help them find a fit for that. And so like Farmstead, you guys are all familiar with, I think a lot of fans of Farmstead around here, but they've got the business in St. George. They also have one in Springdale. They have one in Hurricane as well. And then in Leeds, that's where they make all the pastries. And so funding for a lot of that growth came through this particular funding line. And so, yeah, bringing capital into our area is important, and it's not as easy as it would seem, right?
Yeah, I'm personally really liking the pockets we're seeing pop up throughout St. George of neighborhood commercial. I think it's really cool to have really close by to your neighborhoods that, maybe smaller grocery stores or a gym or a salon right there within the neighborhoods that we've seen pop up several areas, especially I'm out in Little Valley all the time. So I always am seeing those that are popping up in that area, and it's helping with traffic. Obviously, the roadway expansions we're doing with 3000 East, that widening project, and 1450 South, we are underway of designing the bridge to go across there toward Dixie Drive. So those things that help with traffic as well, I think are super important.
All right, we've got a couple other ones we'll try and get to here. One that was asked is, Michelle kind of mentioned it in her intro, but is there any legislation in the line of your work that your bills you want us to follow that may help your area of expertise for this legislative session?
Yeah, Washington City's been tracking a couple pieces of legislation. That's my job as Legislative Affairs Director. One of them is one of our very own Neil Walters bill, and it will allow cities to better track and regulate illegal nightly rentals. Currently, cities do not have the ability under legislation to track illegal nightly rentals. Now, being able to track illegal nightly rentals will do a couple things. Number one, in the city of St. George alone, they estimate there are could be over 1,000 nightly rentals operating illegally. In Washington City, the number's not quite that high, but it's still pretty high. If these are operating illegally, what does that do to our housing supply when these illegal nightly rentals are then injected into the housing market? It increases the supply, and therefore prices will come down. The second thing it does is it rewards those who play by the rules, have gone through the licensing requirements, and are in the correct nightly rental zones. Those who play by the rules and have done it the right way are currently being harmed by those who skirt the rules. And I think that as a party, especially, we believe in the rule of law. And that if we have regulations and laws in place, we should abide by those. So that's one of the bills that we are tracking, and I spoke in support of that bill in committee. That bill did pass out of committee unanimously and has passed the House and is now moving over to the Utah Senate. That's just one example of the type of bill that a city would be looking at. There are a couple other bills that deal with zoning. We're always weary of the state coming in and telling cities how they should zone. So we push back on any legislation where the state is telling the cities how our cities should look and where our different zones should be located. We believe that that should be up to the city to decide that, because you all elect your city council members to do that job, and we don't want the state to take that job away from the cities.
Anyone else have any bills they want to talk about?
Do we know anything about Joseph Ellison's bill, the EMT bill? Or hurricane rural areas, I think, would be affected by that.
Yes. There we go. So Representative Ellison, who represents the east side of the county, is running a bill that would allow a 1/3 of 1% sales tax that would go specifically to fund fire and EMS. And the reason why he's running this is the Hurricane Valley Fire District specifically, over 90% of the calls they get in Springdale are tourists, not residents. But the tourists aren't paying for that service. It's us, the residents, that are paying for that service. If we, rather than raise property taxes that will harm all of us who live here permanently, this would allow a city to enact a tiny sales tax, but all of that money would be earmarked to pay for EMS services, because then the tourists are helping pay for those services. That bill passed out of committee in the Senate. Senator Owens, he represents a sliver of Washington County. He ran the bill in the Senate. It passed the Senate unanimously. It is now over in the House, where Representative Ellison is going to shepherd that through the House.
Can I ask you, is that SB 67?
Yes, SB 67.
Okay.
Correct.
Can I get on the I need to get on the soapbox for just 1 minute though, because the underlying issue is we have TRT tax, where we have millions of dollars that funnel through under that transient room tax. However, currently, a certain percentage has to be used to market Washington County. Now, I'm not saying that sometimes there aren't things that need to be marketed. We all know that we are highly driven on sales tax for survival within our budgets. I understand that. But we are on the map. We've had World Championship Ironman. We have the PGA. Because of these, we have millionaires flying in, discovering our area, and snatching up houses, not thinking twice about spending $2 million on a home, which inadvertently affects our affordable housing issue. What we need, and I'm told there's a bill coming, we'll see what it looks like, but we need to change the allocation process of that TRT money to be used for our fire, for our EMS, for our roadways, for other things that are significantly impacted by tourism. So just had to get on my soapbox on that one.
Thank you. All right, switching gears a little bit. What are the most pressing issues currently facing our businesses in our community? You want to take that?
Our business people want to take that?
For us in Washington, we deal with a lot of small business, mom and pops, 1 to 10 employees, right? And their thing is always the same. They want to be able to pay their bills, they want to be able to pay their employees and have some money left over at the end of the month, right? And it's tough. At least for us, a challenge is particularly when they're smaller businesses, they don't even know what a chamber of commerce is, right? How many times do they come and you say, oh, you're part of the city? No. You're in a city building. Well, yeah, but they give it to us. It's just helping people understand that we're available there for them, right? That's the main thing. And we do a lot of events. We put on the Hot Air Balloon Festival and we use that to give our members an opportunity to get in front of the residents, and we do the music in the park, and same thing St. George Chamber. We do big events to try and give awareness to our members so that they can survive, right? That's really the biggest thing.
I'll speak on that real quick. Just as a small business owner myself, is I think one of the best things we can do, and I think we do a really good job of this overall in St. George City, is getting government out of the way and letting us run our businesses how we want to run it. Less regulation, ease of obtaining a business license. And so our turnover in the city of St. George with business licensing is actually fairly quick. And so, we are a very hospitable place here for small businesses to thrive.
Yeah, to build on that, for multiple years, Washington City, St. George City, even Cedar City has been in the top 10 3 markets to be able to, they've been in the top 10 of markets to open a small business. And so our elected officials and those of you who you have put into office have done a really great job of being able to limit that. From our business owners, what we hear a lot is that hiring is really hard. And it ties directly back to attainable housing. So if you have a business that has entry-level jobs and a person working that's going to have to pay rent, it really drives up the cost for that employee, and so they have a really hard time finding that. And so those two things are tied very, very closely together. And at the chamber, we are involved in talking a lot about affordable housing, but it's developers like Isaac and others in the area that are going to bring private. Government's not going to solve attainable housing. Would you agree? I mean, they can only do so much. Private entities have always been the economic engine behind our economy here in Southern Utah and across the United States, and allowing them to do unique and ingenious things is what's going to solve our attainable housing problem. And we have cities that are very on board of helping out with that. And so we're going to watch as that process starts to play itself out. But that's the biggest pain point for our businesses. Hiring is really hard.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, I have a mayor that he's up all night thinking about attainable housing and housing affordability. Last night about 9 p.m. he sent me a text, and it was a link to a website that they mapped out the entire country and the number of 9 to 5 days an average employee has to work to afford a mortgage today. Utah was 3rd in the nation for most expensive, behind Hawaii #1 and California #2. Utah was #3, and it takes an average Utahn 35 9 to 5 days a month to afford your average mortgage. There are only 30 days in a month, so therefore there's only 20 working days in a month. Therefore, the average Utahn is having to work enough hours to be 35 full-time days just to be able to afford a mortgage. That's a problem that we need to tackle. And there are many of us on this panel that are deeply involved in trying to find solutions, but it's a really hard issue to tackle when it's driven by the market. And we believe in a free market, and we believe that the market should dictate that, but there are things that we should be able to do. And just one more thing, I liked what Councilwoman Tanner said about getting government out of the way of business. One thing that we did in Washington City last year, we changed our ordinance so that if you have a business license in another city, we have reciprocity and we will honor that business license in Washington City. So if you're a business operating in Santa Clara and you want to expand to Washington, there's no need to get a separate business license. We will honor that Santa Clara business license.
shift gears just a little bit, wearing my water hat. We get calls all the time from national organizations asking us if we have sufficient water resources for their business. And I don't think people realize how many people are looking at St. George. And my common response is we have a 20-year water supply plan, it's on our website. And I have literally been told repeatedly, 20 years is great, what's your 50-year plan, what's your 100-year plan? Because we're not investing for 20 years, we're investing for the long term, and we wanna make sure that you have a stable, reliable water supply. Affordable housing is essential, but attracting growth to the community has tremendous economic benefits, of course. But if you don't have a stable, reliable supply, it doesn't matter how much the house costs or how many businesses you have in your community. You have to have a stable, reliable water supply. That has to be the foundation of all of our plans, everything that we're doing. You have to think water first. And I know I'm biased, but I'm right on that.
Perfect, we're getting close on time. Any last burning questions before I let them do their closing remarks that didn't get asked, Jennifer?
We need to do a rain dance.
And I go, why isn't it raining? Is it all those chemtrails up there? Are they stopping our rain or what? We need to get up and do a huge rain dance.
Well, the county was asking for prayers and fastings, so we can do that. But, all right, let's start with Councilman Prete. If you want to give any closing remarks, and we'll go down the line.
Well, thank you for letting me be here. Mayor Billings wishes she could have been, and it's just been great to be here and hear everything that's been said. I have 8 children. My first 5 are daughters, so I live in a household with women. I feel very much at home here, so thank you.
You look tired, buddy. Just thanks for supporting the community. Shop your local businesses. You know, they need your love. And stay off of St. George word of mouth and complaining all the time. You know, go visit your businesses. If you have issues, talk to them or talk to us at the chamber. We're happy to help you. But if I find you on St. George word of mouth, I will find you.
Amen. Yeah, I can't even follow that page anymore. It's become pretty toxic. Anyway, I just thank you so much for having me, and it's always such a pleasure to be in a room full of amazing friends, and I have such a passion for Washington County. I know we say it all the time that we are the bastion of hope of the state of Utah, but the entire country, and we're seeing really exciting things happen right now nationwide, and I hope we can build on that momentum here in Washington County. And this right here is what makes this county such a phenomenal place, is it's each of you, it's your involvement in the community. So please just keep that up. You're awesome. Thank you.
It's I love coming to events like this. As you guys might know, entities like this where people get together and socialize, they're on the decline, whether it's church, it's Elks Lodges, it's across the board, they've seen declines in membership. So good for you guys for choosing to put something ahead of yourselves and to give of yourselves to be able to move the ball forward here in Washington County and keep us the lifestyle that we love so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm going to put my partisan hat back on. You know, during the election, Democrats would often say they've never seen President Trump surrounded by strong, powerful women. As he was signing that executive order yesterday, barring men from competing in women's sports, he was surrounded by powerful women. And this room today is a testament of that as well. Thank you for the work that you do. The party needs you, our community needs you, the state of Utah needs you. There are great things happening in Washington City. Come spend some of your tax dollars there in our stores and our restaurants. And thank you again for having me. And I'm gonna one up at Tracey real quick. I'm not going to sing a song, but I'm gonna join today as a gold level associate.
That'll be good eye candy for us women. I just want to thank everybody here for supporting the Water District. Everything that we do is to support your high quality of life, to support the growth that's occurring in our region, and to support our economic prosperity. And water is essential for those things. We appreciate your willingness to conserve. You're making Southern Utah look exceptionally good. We are getting nationally recognized for our conservation achievements, for our reuse innovations, and other things that we're doing. And we're so grateful to have a community that supports us and leaders that support us in this effort. And that's critical because that's not always the case. But I will tell you that in a water year like this year, we are 100% living off of infrastructure that was developed for us 100 years ago. And so if you don't think that continuing investments in water infrastructure is necessary, I would like to chat with you because we are literally living off of our savings account from previous years. So thank you so much for having us. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate all of you guys do for our community. These guys are awesome, so I'm sure they're happy to take any other individual questions you have. But I'm going to turn 1 minute over before we adjourn to Commissioner Almquist. He has an announcement as well.
Thank you, President. Wonderful panel. Thank you. As much of you are aware, you have an envelope on your tables for United We Pledge and the good it does to bring the message of the U.S. Constitution to fifth graders and literally anybody. But in addition, they're building Liberty Village, which will be a restoration of all of the buildings that they have listed, from the Green Dragon Tavern, where thank heaven for Sam Adams and that group that met there and said, hey, why don't we be rebels together? This isn't right in our land, let's fix it. But in addition to that, America's 250 is coming. And at the fair, we will have an entire reenactment of a historic colonial village. Renaissance fair, as it were, but its focus is to let everyone going to the fair see what what it would be 250 years ago if you happened to be dropped into Williamsburg, right? And so that's coming. The actual George Washington is coming from Virginia, complete with wood teeth. But the point is it's going to be fantastic. Champaign, the county has contracted with Champaign to write a pageant. So I hope you'll all go to the pageant. There'll be two nights, two presentations with horses and all kinds of things. The shot heard around the world will be there. And lastly, because we're taking the bull by the horns in our county to make sure we celebrate America's 250, one of the representatives coming from the national organization was here over the last couple of days, and she said, nobody in the country is doing this. So now we've become kind of the model for the country. President Trump has supported it. We're just really pushing hard. We hope you'll all stay involved. Thank you, Lisa.
When are the fair dates?
Oh, April.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the date?
Well, we're starting April 15th through, what is it,
22nd.
22nd, so it's 8 days.
2 weekends.
Yep. So hopefully you'll all hear about it and listen for it, and it'll be quite an amazing thing. Thanks, that's more than 1 minute.
Is that this year?
Yes.
Right? This year, yeah. Yeah, so we'll keep you posted on that. So again, thank you so much. We're happy to have our new friends here. Please join us again next month. You're not going to want to miss. It's March 6th, first Thursday. We're going to have Sheriff Brooksby, and he's got a couple surprises for us that are going to be good. So I'll take a motion to adjourn and get on the day. So moved. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Shawn, you put hand on her. I want